For centuries, we've been told that science and spirituality are at war. We're taught that a miracle is a violation of natural law, a magic trick that breaks the rules of the universe. But what if that definition is entirely wrong? What if a miracle is not a suspension of law, but the application of a higher, deeper physics that we are only just beginning to understand? Welcome to Celestial Physics. In our last episode, The Entangled Universe, we opened a case file on quantum non-locality, the discovery that two particles can react to each other instantly across any distance with no signal, no delay, no travel time at all. We asked what that meant for something like prayer. Today we are opening a second file, because it turns out non-locality is not the only thing in this universe that seems to operate outside of time. Light does too. Every photon that has ever existed, including the one leaving this screen and hitting your eyes right now, has from its own perspective existed for exactly 0 seconds. Not a long time, not a short time, no time at all. That's not a metaphor. It is a hard consequence of Einstein's physics. And by the end of this episode, we are going to connect it to a set of verses written almost 200 years ago that describe this exact behavior before anyone had the math to prove it. This is Celestial Physics, Case File 3, Light. Before 1905, everyone, scientists included, assumed time was the one fixed thing in the universe. A minute here is a minute everywhere. Simple. Then a 26-year-old patent clerk named Albert Einstein broke that assumption completely. He proved that space and time are not two separate things. They are stitched together into a single fabric, space-time. And there is a strict speed limit built into that fabric. 186,000 miles per second. The speed of light. The letter C. Here is the twist. That speed limit is not just about how fast light moves. It governs how fast everything can move. And the closer you push toward it, the more your time slows down to compensate. Picture a train moving at 99% the speed of light. To the passenger inside, everything feels completely normal. But to someone standing on the platform, watching through a telescope, that watch is barely moving. Minutes on the train are stretching into hours on the platform. Neither person is wrong. Both clocks are telling the truth. Time itself is bending. Now, push this thought experiment as far as physically possible. What happens if you do not just approach the speed of light? What happens if you are light? Let's calculate the equation. Plug the actual speed of light into Einstein's time dilation math, and the answer is not a small number. It is 0. Watch this photon. Born inside a star in Andromeda, 2.5 million lights away. From our side on Earth, that crossing takes 2.5 million years. We can measure it. But from the photon's own perspective, the moment it left that star and the moment it lands on your retina tonight are the same instant. 0 seconds elapsed. No aging, no waiting. Here is Exhibit A in our second case file. It is not a prediction. It is something stranger, a resonance. Almost 2 centuries ago, a religious text made this claim about intelligence and light. It's a claim about eternity, something existing with no beginning point, ever. It says nothing about the speed of light, nothing about relativity. Yet the person who had it written down had no access to Einstein's math and was not attempting to describe it. But sit with the shape of the idea for a second. We just proved mathematically that a photon's own clock never starts and never advances. That from light's own perspective, there is no before. Two very different vocabularies, a 19th century religious text and a 20th century field equation, both landed on the same core image, something without a beginning standing outside of time. That does not mean one predicted the other. It means the same intuition shows up in both places, that light, of all things, might be the thing time cannot touch. File that one away. We are going to come back to it. And if the idea that something in this universe may exist completely outside of time sounds more interesting than anything you learned in the standards physics class, hit subscribe. We are just getting started. If light is timeless, the next question is bigger. What is it actually doing while it is out there? Modern physics has a name for the idea it's chasing as the deepest possible answer to that question: a theory of everything. Physics currently treats the universe as governed by four separate forces: gravity, electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. Physicists have already managed a partial unification, combining electromagnetism and the two nuclear forces into a single framework. But gravity refuses to fit in a finite manner. The two theories that describe it, general relativity and quantum mechanics, are currently mathematically incompatible, and no one has yet reconciled them. A true theory of everything, one single field accounting for all four forces at once, remains unsolved since we have been unable to test our hypothesis. It is the single most wanted equation in physics. Which brings us to Exhibit B, a passage that verse by verse assigns a single source of power to exactly those forces, a full century before physicists started hunting for one. It attributes the sun and its power to this light. It attributes the light to the stars, and by extension, gravity and orbital structure to the same source. And it describes this light as filling the immensity of space, giving life to all things, and being, in its own words, the law by which all things are governed. Four forces, one governing source. Written down in 1832, more than 70 years before Einstein published Special Relativity in 1905. And this is not only a cosmic scale claim. Biology has its own quiet version of the same mystery. Human cells emit extremely weak photon emissions called biophotons. Researchers are still investigating exactly what role they play, but the working hypothesis is that they may function as a kind of low-level cellular signaling network, light, doing something inside you right now. Which brings us to Exhibit C, and this one has two parts, separated by 18 centuries using the exact same image. First, from the Gospel of Luke, take heed therefore that the light which is in thee be not darkness, not light around you, not light you walk toward, light in you. 1800 years later, a revelatory text takes that same image and expands it. Your whole body shall be filled with light, and that body which is filled with light comprehendeth all things. Same claim, restated almost 2 millennia apart. That light is not just something out in the cosmos or something you witness from a distance. It is something that can be present inside a living body. That's not a scientific claim about biophotons. It is a spiritual claim about purity and understanding. But once again, sit with the shape of it next to what biology just handed us. Cells, quietly emitting light right now inside you. Two vocabularies separated by nearly 2,000 years, both landing on the same picture. That's the second file we are setting aside for later. There's a thread worth pulling on here before we go further. A 19th century religious text describes it this way: "The Spirit gives light to every man that cometh into the world." That phrase is not new to 1832. It's almost word for word out of the Gospel of John, describing the same light as the true light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. Two texts, 18 centuries apart, describing the same thing the same way. Not a light you go looking for, but a light already present in every person before they ever start looking. Zoom out from the cell to empty space and the pattern holds again. Quantum physics tells us that even a total vacuum is not actually empty. It is filled with a constant background of fluctuating energy, sometimes called the zero-point field. A field of energy present everywhere, filling what looks like nothing. Remember those entangled particles from the last episode, reacting to each other with no delay across any distance? Non-locality was our first clue that this universe is more connected than it looks. Light's behavior as a possible unifying field is our second. Two separate case files, same underlying suspects. Mathematically, we just proved that light experiences its entire journey in a single instant. No beginning, no end. Just everything happening all at once. Light is also the only thing in the universe that stays completely constant, no matter who measures it or how fast they are moving. Even if you chased a beam of light at near top speed, it would still move away from you at the exact same rate. It refuses to slow down or adjust to your perspective. And through Einstein's other famous equation, mass and energy are the same substance in different forms, which means the atoms in your body, the metal in your camera, the ground under your feet, all of it is at the deepest level, slowed down, densely packed light. Which brings us back to the two files we set aside. A photon with no beginning, a body that can be filled with light. Throughout this episode, we have been treating physical and spiritual like two separate boxes. The science in one, the scripture in the other, set side by side for comparison. But here is the question worth sitting with longer than any other one tonight. What if that is the wrong frame entirely? What if the physical is not just a metaphor for the spiritual, or a clue pointing toward it from a distance? What if at some level we have not fully mapped yet, they are the same thing, described in two different vocabularies by two different kinds of observers, separated by centuries? We are not answering that tonight, but once you've seen the pattern, it is hard to unsee. Every time you feel sunlight on your skin, you're touching something that has never once been touched by time. And if our exhibits today hold up, that same light may also be the single governing thread running through gravity, electromagnetism, your own cells, and the empty space between galaxies. The physics does not diminish the mystery, it sharpens it. If you are ready to keep opening these case files, subscribe, turn on notifications, and bring someone with you. Next time, we take everything we have proven about light and energy and drop it directly into one of history's most famous, most disputed miracles, the parting of the Red Sea. We are going to ask what it would actually take physically to stand the sea up like a wall. Thank you for watching. Keep looking up and welcome to the classroom of the possible.